Hello, YouTube and Twitch. This is your man, Knight of Misfortune, bringing you the round one game from the February qualifier. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know it's been pretty late and it was very, very hectic for me. I think we're 10 minutes behind, so I do apologize for that. We had just a bunch of issues, including the game not launching and everything. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into this game. It is, of course, Desolia. We've got two very unique players playing today, and you guys probably haven't heard of them. So let's go ahead and introduce our purple Serpent commander. To the top left of Desolia, we have our HVKLegend. Plopping down 2 land factories. I believe this is the correct way. And his opponent, all the way from China, it is Seoul, our blue Aeon commander. And I am so excited, guys, about Seoul playing in this tournament. That is partially why I casted him. I really wanted to see how he plays. And also, I'm super excited that we have gotten a reach out to the Chinese community through Seoul. He has a YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out. He makes very cool montage videos for Supreme Commander 2. So go ahead and check that out. I'll try to put a link on YouTube for those of you that are interested after. But obviously, go ahead and check it out. He posted it on the OSS Discord. So go ahead and check that out. And so far, he's doing mostly everything right, I think. 3 land factories on Desolia, not a bad start. Already pressing with his commander. And yeah, so the Chinese community hopefully will start to play a little bit more, but it's difficult over there because of their internet. They have to go through a VPN, and Seoul so far is not really lagging, but I know that's a big problem. So hopefully we will continue to see Seoul and some other Chinese players. We already have Oceanic players, JP Smith, Skies, and the likes of, what's the last one? Youngshot. So that's pretty exciting to be expanding into Asia now. As we do have our first engagement here, Seoul is pushing with his commander. This is going to be very hard to deal with for HVKLegend. I'm just going to call him HVK. It's too much to say. Also, Seoul has like a bunch of Chinese letters afterwards, so I don't really know what that means, but anyway. As you guys hopefully know already, if you've been watching the January qualifier, this is, of course, the best out of 2, which means if we could have a tie. And this is a progressive tournament, meaning that everybody kind of starts at the same spot in terms of their opponents. Kind of balanced brackets at the beginning, and then obviously the players that do well go on forward. Seoul is doing very well here. Unfortunately, his tanks are continuing to die here. He didn't bring his reinforcements quick enough here, but he should be able to deal with this force now that his reinforcements are coming in, and his commander is still taking a lot of damage, doing very well here. Of course, could do much better on the positioning of that ACU to prevent that Cybern, or just in general, fire on his land forces. So that's a nice win right there. And now there isn't a whole lot for HVK here to deal with these tanks. That's a lot of tanks. Seoul is actually going to capture that. No, he's not. I think that's the correct decision. There's no need to capture here. Needs to be a little careful on his commander. He's also kind of drawing Brackman fire into it, and he's getting shot on his tanks as well. He now has shields, so he went straight for shields. This is a very solid, I think, gameplay from, a person that knows how to play this game, but at the very top level, people very seldomly rush into shields, in my opinion. At least that's from what I've seen. There's a point defense here. HVK is doing a nice job putting it under shields. There's double point defense, and this is going to be hard to do with. HVK is actually healing that point defense. That point defense is not going down as Brackman fire is now connecting with that tank army. However, those shields are doing work for our Chinese player. Doing a very nice job reclaiming, by the way. He's been watching Steel Speaks videos, I guess. So very nicely done there. I don't dislike this choice by Seoul to go around and try to snipe some of these mass extractors over here. but ultimately it kind of buys your opponent time. But on this map, it's so devastating to lose this forward position. If Sol just builds a couple of MMLs, obviously this whole base will fall. HVK, however, is trying to do some cheeky things. Going to build a land factory all the way to the south here. Just not a bad idea, but he is kind of very much in trouble with his main base here. And there is a structure detonate now. Sol not really controlling his army, I would say. Well, not I would say. I would observe. He's not microing his army, which is could be much worse with these Brackmen, but unfortunately he did have a very good engagement with the ACU, and HVK's ACU is still deep in his base here. Sol doing a nice job expanding as well. Both of these players have expanded very, very nicely. And both of these players are playing at a level above what I would have expected them to do. So very nicely done, very well played so far. There's a point defense push now from Sol, definitely strong here. Double point defense is okay here, but I would like to see them split apart. That point defense is going to take quite a bit of damage while the tanks are engaging. Good kind of tactical movement, not micro, but tactical movement, I would say, from Sol engaging those tanks right as his opponent focus fires the point defense. There's a lot of fights going on. Sol is probably going to lose this fight here in the bottom left, but he is starting to lose his core mass extractors. There's an engineer over here. Sol is trying to bring it in and trying to capture something, but not gonna work out. There's already loyalists and a Brackman there, so, and yeah, those Brackmen are going to end up taking out those tanks, and very well done by Sol bringing MMLs now. Very well played, building a row of point defenses. And yeah, I mean, this is very solid. If Sol just incorporates micro into his gameplay, I think he will be very, very good player. I think he can contest with a lot of people playing this game. These 2-point defenses will be annoying for a little bit. Once again, these mobile missile launchers can pretty much hit all of these structures at this point, and they will slowly take this out. Sol doing a marvelous job here in game 1, having a great debut. And yeah, I want to, I guess, take this time to shout out a few people in my chat. Of course, Alphax, and then there's a couple of other people that are chatting, but they're probably playing the game, so it's not really, it's pointless to shout them out, but I guess in the YouTube video they will see it, maybe. Anthrax, JWix, Soul Ripper, all of y'all, thank you for watching. And the 4 of you that are not chatting, but are watching, thank you. And if you don't know, this is, of course, live, so I will try to engage my chat a little bit. That's my goal for these smaller tournaments, at least. And yeah, of course, it is a 5-minute delay, so I don't know why I'm even trying anymore. But yeah, Sol is slowly taking his time, but he wants to be safe, which is completely understandable. There is structure deado. He already seen that, so that's definitely a very easy way to kind of lose the advantage. But honestly, at this point, there's so much damage done by Sol, and there's so many MMLs here. So much damage. Very nicely done by Sol. And not to harp on HVKLegend, you should absolutely give your best in tournaments and give it your all and try to come back. But this is a pretty hopeless situation, even with this flanking base over here. It's just not going to do enough damage in time for this commander to be saved. HVK does Control K, not Control K, but detonate that factory, but it doesn't really do anything, especially with all these shields. And there's actually also training on these. Very nicely done. And yeah, HVK is going to try to build an energy generator, but that's not even going to live long enough for it to be controlled or, again, structure detonated. So yeah, I want to, I guess, make a couple of announcements. Of course, well, HVK is going to probably die here pretty soon. He does have 1 star in his commander, but that is going to be an explosion here. Seoul takes game 1. Seoul takes game 1. This is, again, best out of 2. Second map is Arctic Refuge, so we'll be right back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game 2 of round 1 between Seoul and HVK. Let's quickly introduce our players, see where they're at, what are they doing. It is HVKLegend on the bottom left of Arctic Refuge. Again, doing his same build from game 1, double land factory. And his opponent mixing stuff up. He can do it all. Of course, it is Seoul with a double air factory as our AN player. Thank you, Anthrax, for subscribing. Thank you. And check out my YouTube channel as well. I'm sure you already subscribed, but check it out. Trying to reach 200 subs, guys. Let's push it all the way. And also hoping to, by mid-year, to average 100 views on my videos. Hopefully. That's my goal. We're doing very well. I want to thank all of you again. I've been doing it a lot of my videos, but I really am thankful. I think this is starting to surpass my expectations for, participation in these tournaments, and also, the participation on my YouTube channel. There's some very, very great people that are commenting on my videos, giving me support, liking my videos, and obviously subscribing. So I was going to send 4 units to scout. That's very, very, strange, I want to say. But, maybe he's hoping to catch some air off guard. Usually you would just scout with 1. That's enough. And a double air factory is generally considerably less safe. He is going to push forward with his ACU here. Doing a bombing run on the units. Nicely done. We're going to see some quirky builds. One thing I didn't mention is that the Chinese scene actually has tournaments of their own. And, obviously they have good players. But I think, obviously, the level is, at least maybe in our meta, we'll see how their meta holds up, is I guess what I'm trying to say, is we're going to have quirky builds like this, where, they might work, they might not. But that's part of the fun, right? That's part of bringing our communities together. And that's something that, and again, I'm very happy to see players from all around the world. And that's why these tournaments are starting so early now, at least for us North Americans and West Hemisphere people, is because we're trying to accommodate for China, for Oceania, JP Smith, all of them in Australia, and now Seoul in China. So, and plus Europe. I mean, in Russia, the tournaments that we had last year, they would go into like past midnight for them. So, depending on where you are in Russia, of course. There's a point defense coming. That's actually a pretty strong build, but there's just simply too many units here for Seoul to deal with. And he recognizes this. He's a smart player. There's a difference between players that know that something is strong. Obviously, a PD push is pretty strong. But there's also the next level of player that recognizes when they need to play carefully, when they need to back up, and when they just need to regroup. And Seoul is doing that perfectly right now, I think. So again, a quirky build. I don't know if this stuff will work against the top players that we have, but he's doing very well. HVK probably shouldn't be engaging here. There is an anti-air tower that's just barely going up. I think with this build, he could afford it a little bit earlier. Oh, there was one over here. Okay. But generally speaking, you don't want to build AA towers right by your factories, because obviously your factories can get anti-air, and it's fairly decent at the early stages of the game. And of course, at the late stages of the game, even the stationary AA is not that great. Or dedicated AA, rather. All right, Seoul's game is very reminiscent to Fox Drummond's play. Of course, I guess that's just how Aeon plays here. There's a point defense here. Going to take out all of these units. Very nicely done. HVK getting his 3rd factory, but now it's starting to be a little too late. HVK, oh wow, Seoul is actually pausing his air production. That is definitely something. I like it. I like this guy's play so far. We shall keep an eye out on how he progresses. I definitely think he can do fairly well in this tournament. For some reason, my chat is not refreshing, so I'm going to have to fix that. If you've been saying stuff, I'll respond to you in chat. There's absolutely the correct choice from HVK, getting a tactical missile launcher on his factory. Absolutely wonderful. Double anti-air station is also not ideal, especially when you place it down like this, because of course, even without the what are they called? It's the Scorch bombs, of course. No, Scorch bombs are UEF. The Scorch equivalent for the Aeon, even without that upgrade, obviously there's some AoE on the plane bombing. So a good bombing run here with, I think it takes 13, 16, somewhere around there. Enough bombers will take both of these with one run. But of course, Sol is not really doing that. Any more air production. He's just using that to harass, which I think is the correct choice. I think maybe making just a bit too many engineers here, and slip tack here is not very good. So he is making the correct decisions tactically, but it's just, I think he will realize that the meta does not allow for stuff like this to happen. Doing a nice job tanking. There's also shield generator here. Should bring his ACU underneath the shield. It's probably ideal. That point defense is also doing work. And yeah, this is just very hard to attack into as a Cybern player, even with Brackman, even with a little bit of missile launcher support. And I think HVK realizes that. He's bringing his commander over here. And I think that's going to be game 2, guys. Nope. He's just going to bring it back. There's adapters now. Adapters I do like. Giving him a bit of a chance. Unfortunately, he's losing his expansions. And Sol, again, oh my goodness, I didn't even see. Engineers everywhere. Expanding everywhere. Such a strong economy. Man, I want to see Sol play Fox now. This is absolutely incredible. I love this. I'm glad I casted this. HVK, you are also a good player, but obviously there's places you can improve, and you know, for your first tournament, this is not a bad performance. You know, there's a couple of things both these players can do to improve. But so far, so good. I mean, he's getting his 4th land factory, so this is not all over. It will all depend on the engagement, and actually Sol has shown that he doesn't really micro his units, so if these Brackmen just get a good hit on this army, this will be over, and the Cybern can win this, no matter how many expansions there are. Of course, the longer this game goes, the less likely that you know, our Cybern player is going to win here. But I think if he engages here maybe in a minute or so, if he gets a couple more Brackmen, a couple more adapters, and gets a nice hit here. There are Shadjas, though, so that's a bit concerning. But, well, yeah, of course he has Shadjas because he unlocked the slip tax. That's on the research path. And again, just, okay, so teleport is going to be the follow-up, of course. It's nothing too surprising. HVK is going to engage. I don't like this engagement under the point defense. I would wait until your opponent engages you. But of course, that's not a guarantee here because I think Sol knows that he's ahead at this point and he doesn't need to engage. Yeah, and unfortunately, even with this decent micro, he's actually, I think, dodging the point defense fire pretty well. But Sol's units are just underneath shields. Yeah, and that's a massacre for the Cybern army. Sol now going to be advancing. Nope, he's not. Going to continue to play that defensive game. I think he's playing very, very cautiously. Maybe a little bit nervous of his first big tournament. You know, we're going to wait for those MMLs to take out the structures, which is, I mean, again, you can't really advance easily against the Cybern ever, no matter what your advantage is. you have to worry about the structure detonate. So I think ultimately that's the correct call. Hey, I lost plenty of games because I was up and then decided to do something stupid. Combine that with a tournament game, and that's it's very, very easy to lose an advantage. HVK is going to go down here. Very well played by Soul. Great Aeon play. I think if you incorporate Micro into that, you will be a very, very strong player, and we probably will see you a lot in these tournaments. All right, everybody, that was round 1. We are going to go see how everybody else is doing, and then I'm going to bring you either another game or we're going to go to round 2. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. If you're still watching, give a thumbs up to this video. If you liked the video, leave a comment. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you are blown away by it, check out my Patreon page. This has been Nite. Take care and peace out.